All right. Good morning, congregation, and happy Black History Month. Welcome to Creator Tea Talk, where we spill the tea on all things regarding the creator economy. I am Jade Powell, coming at you live from a rainy and a slightly cloudy day in Atlanta, but still lit. And I'm your hostess. For those that don't know me, I'm a former social media strategist turned content creator and content marketer. And through my work, I have been put in a unique position because I am both a creator and marketer. I noticed a gap in communication and understanding between creators and influencers and marketers and brands. And sometimes brands don't always know how to partner best with creators, and sometimes creators don't know always how to best partner with brands. So, that said, Creator Tea Talk is really just a space to have real conversations about topics that impact everyone involved in the creator economy. So, our first couple of episodes, we talked about mental health and burnout. We also talked about pay transparency and creator rates. And now, today's episode is about the Black creator economy because it is Black History Month. Don't forget to capitalize the B in Black. And that said, I wanted to bring attention to a stat that actually inspired to this episode, and it's about the creator economy. So, according to Zippia, the most common ethnicity amongst creators is white, which makes up 71.4% of all creators. In comparison, 5.5% of creators are Black and or African American. So that's such a huge rate, a huge gap. And clearly, that's not the vibe because that means Black creators aren't getting as much opportunities as white people do or other people of color. So, in honor of Black History Month, of course, I wanted to pass the mic to other Black creators to share their own experiences and talk about the future of the creator economy for Black creators. Now, without further ado, I'll have my entirely Black ass panel of creators and marketers introduce themselves. And I actually want to start with Dante. I didn't tell you I was going to start with you, Dante, but if you don't mind, Dante is a friend and a fellow creative, and he actually joined a previous panel for Creator Tea Talk. So I want to kick it off with him. Dante, you can have the mic and tell the people where you are, who you are, and where they can follow you.
Yeah, I will gladly kick it off. My name is Dante Nicholas. I am a social media manager, content creator, photographer, writer. I write on a lot of topics like this, the Black creator economy. So I'm super excited to be here. Like Jade said, I was on I think it was the first episode, and now I'm back. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Currently living in New Orleans. It's actually my last day living in New Orleans. I'm actually moving to Atlanta tomorrow. So
Oh, wow. Congrats.
shout out to that, you
Come
know.
to Atlanta where I am so I get to harass him. Yay.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I'll pass the mic to Melissa.
Hey, y'all. Happy to be here, be amongst all these really dope people. So thank you so much, Jay, for having me. My name is Melissa Kimble, and I am the founder and creator of hashtag Black Creatives, which is the only digital collective that provides resources, aid, and general and genuine care for the betterment of the Black creator. We like to say that we exist to preserve Black creativity in all of its phases of existence. So that's past, present, and future. We love Black creativity. Um, I'm also a cultural writer and a strategist as well. Yeah, and I'm from Chicago and Memphis. I like to say I have two hometowns. And right now I'm currently based in Memphis, Tennessee. And yeah, so I'll pass it over to who am I looking at? Joy.
Hello and happy Black History Month. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, come on, voice. Yes.
Hello, hello. My name is Joy Ofodu. I am a voice actor and creative executive. I've drawn over 30 million views to my original digital comedy content. That's right, I'm funny for money online. I used to work at Instagram for over 4.5 years directly powering our Black History Month campaigns and reaching out by hand to over 200 Black creators to get them involved in Instagram's work. But now, under my self titled media company, I've grown a really engaged community of over 200,000 online daters and meditators. I cannot believe this many people are following me. I'm foolish. I eat chips at home. Um, but anyway, I'm the host of Dating Unsettled. It's an audio show that I designed to validate women daters, specifically Black women in dating, which is available on all podcast platforms. And I create sponsored content now as a creator with many brands. And Black History Month is the busiest month for that. So thank you, Jade, for having me.
See, y'all already see why I had to have Joy on this panel because that voice is voicing. Thank you, Joy. Devontae, I'm going to pass it to you. Devontae, I don't know if you're speaking, but we can't hear you. I see that your mic is off, but you sound muted. So you might need to give your browser a little refresh. And in the meantime, I will pass it over to RK.
Hey, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up Joy, but here I am. RK Jackson. I am a social marketing manager, digital and social, brand management as well too. I've done a lot over the last decade or so. And then as of recently, last year, I got the honor to work with Twitter. Pre acquisition and had a lot of fun. And I directly got to tap in with the creator economy and was able to activate and elevate a lot of Black creators on platform as well too, which was a humongous privilege and honor for me as well too. And I use that kind of as my North Star moving forward in most of my work.
Beautiful. Thank you, RK. And now, Devontae, let's see if it's working for you.
Can you hear me now?
Amen.
Me having mic issues when I was just talking to y'all. Anyway, let me go ahead and give y'all this intro. How y'all doing? I'm Devonta White. I am senior social content manager at LinkedIn. I'm also like a digital marketer, photographer, and travel enthusiast thriving in Harlem. I am currently in Paris for my bestie's birthday, so I just landed here today. Excited to be here, and I keep it short so we can get into this conversation.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. I'm so excited, and I definitely don't want to delay this any further since I know we have much to discuss. So I'll just jump right in. So, one of my favorite quotes of all time is actually from one of our panelists, Melissa Kimble. And I want to say it was a couple of years ago. You published a tweet, and it's been literally shared across social media and beyond, because I'm pretty sure it's been on some billboards too. And you shared, "This world does not move without Black creativity." Strong as hell. So, my question for all of my panelists is, what does Black creativity mean to you, and how would you describe it?
I'll go first. I don't think you can really describe it because it's really magical. Like Black girl magic, Black boy joy is very real. And when you see and look at like places like Black Twitter, the way we react to content, the way we come back with a quick response, the way we make things like funny in the most crazy way, which only we understand, can't be recreated, and so that that magic spark that we have is something that is just like phenomenal, and I love to see it. And if and that's all you can like really say to it.
I have to agree with Devonte. I think Black creativity is whatever comes out of our mouths. It's like, have you ever seen the meme? You gonna get whatever come out this bonnet. Like that's Black creativity. It's not really for others to understand. Often imitated, never really properly replicated or duplicated, frequently exploited. But we know that we're leading the charge in sports, in business, in entertainment, in music, in fashion. Really, just everybody's following our lead. And I can say that with confidence because it's February. So that's Black creativity to me. I honestly think that it makes the world go round. It built America. Without Black people, you have no America. And so I'm kind of excited to reach a place where we're no longer waiting for people to catch on, um, or seeking the approval of others, but rather just forcing everybody to be exposed to and appreciate who and what we are.
Yeah, that's so good. Both of those are really, really good. Just to kind of piggyback off of what they both of them just really said. For me, Black creativity is definitely a spirit. It's definitely an energy. It's definitely a life force. The first things that come to mind when I think about Black creativity specifically, I just think about that connection. I think about the heart. I think about how, again, it's effortless for us. It's just in our nature, even when we're placed under the most craziest and dehumanizing aspects of the world. Like, it's such a strong spirit that it can't be duplicated, it can't be replicated. Yes, for sure, I agree on that, but it also just can't be tamed, and it doesn't die, and it's something that is just in us, innate in us, to be able to create the things not only that we need, but the things that really just influence the world.
Go ahead, RK.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, kudos to everybody. That was great. I agree. I really do feel like it's just limitless, and I think from like just kind of looking at it from like like even like a social media purview, right? It's every trend, every way of speaking, memeing, the content that we create, no matter what the platform is, there is always a leading cohort of Black creators at the forefront. And while, again, obviously often uncredited and overlooked and underpaid and undervalued, literally no matter what the medium is, we can literally tap into it and be able to make it our own. And I think that even kind of speaks to the journey social media has gone on, right? From like 2000 and I don't know what, 5, 6 of like the inception of Twitter, when we were like texting in our tweets, to now I'm on LinkedIn, doing a live audio panel. Um, no matter what we do, and no matter what time, we make all of these platforms our own. And I think that is just it's a limitless thing, right? We'll continue to do that into the ether. So
Can I just say we make these platforms our own? We're just was like chef kiss for me. We just know how to work things to our own interests and make it work for us. Is such a great thing. And that is our own experience, and nobody really can duplicate that.
Agreed. Yeah, I was just gonna close basically with that. I think a lot of Black creativity is kind of summed up in that phrase, like if you know, you know, because I think Joy said it, it's like often imitated but never really duplicated. So yeah, all of that, all of what y'all just said.
Not y'all coming through with a sermon. It's like making me hot in like the best way. I love this so much. So, one of the things that you kind of all had in common with your responses is pretty much that, we are the originators, we are the cultural drivers. And knowing, going back to what I was saying before, that only 5.5% of the creator economy is represented by Black creators, what role do you think Black creators play in the creator economy, or what space do you feel like is the future of the creator economy to be led by Black people?
That's a great question. I really love what Joy touched on about being a part of, getting to a place where we're not waiting for anyone to give us permission or any type of validation. I feel like, we're headed, the future of it is that we get to take more ownership of it, of what we produce, what we create from a very sustainable way. I think, we've seen just how much Black creativity, like was mentioned earlier, is a driving force for so many of these tech companies, platforms. Like we literally um, give all these platforms and companies and brands and things like that so much from a creative standpoint. And we've all seen scenarios and instances where, Black icons, Black figures, Black leaders, or whoever have, their careers have ended, their lives have ended, and there's really nothing left to kind of show or pick back up from. And so I think we're starting to really reckon with the fact that like we have to own our creativity in sustainable ways so that what we're doing here now in 20, I was going to say 2022, 2023 can still be felt in a 2053 because of the things that we're doing now. I feel like we're starting to not necessarily get hip to the game. We've always been hip to the game, but I think we're going to start to play our game in the way that we want to, so that we can really achieve some sustainability, because it's not fair, right? That like, you know, Black folks are driving, and Black folks and Black creativity are driving these different platforms and making all this money, and then there's still so many breakdowns in terms of, pay discrepancies, representation, certain opportunities, deals. Like I feel like there'll start to be a shift, especially this year. We've all been through the pandemic. We've been through 2020. We're still continuing to deal with a lot of the same things that we're dealing with in 2020. And I think it's been not necessarily a wake up call, because I feel like especially everybody on this chat is very like in tune with the industry. And so, we kind of know what to look out for. But I think from a widespread standpoint, like we're gonna start to be able to really take Black creativity seriously, for ourselves, and not just do it because of a viral this or whatever type of internet fame, but to really build sustainable pathways for ourselves and for the people coming up after us.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody on this call kind of fits what I'm about to say, but I think we're finally starting to get to a place within the past few years where just like Black people in general, we're realizing, this opportunity that we want to happen might not happen, so let me create it for myself, right? Like if you think about like an Issa Rae, like Issa Rae could sit around and wait for roles to come to her, come to her, come to her, and they might never come to her. So instead, she starts her own production company and is creating her own TV shows and her own movies, etc. Or like Melissa with Black creatives, like you could have easily just waited for like a partnership with another brand to create Black content, but instead you created your own company. Or
Mhm.
Culture Con is its own conference now, as opposed to the founders of Culture Con waiting for, I don't know, like Inbound or another, marketing style conference to partner with them. So I think, just as a whole, we're starting to get to that point as Black creatives of just understanding, or using everything we've learned in the past, decade, 2 decades, whatever, and really just using that to our advantage instead of just waiting for it to happen for us.
I think that we're in the trenches.
Mhm.
I know we're in the trenches, and I can tell you why. I did um, my ethical research or ethics research at Santa Clara University for my master's program. And I chose to focus my thesis on how slavery in the United States, not too heavy on the slavery though, but how slavery in the
Heavy
United
on the
States,
slavery.
right? But heavy on that. How that disparity created the disparity that we're seeing right now in the Black creator economy, the pay gaps, the wage gaps, the opportunities that we're allowed to fill. And the general trend of the thesis or line of the thesis is, if Black people are not healed, if we are not financially empowered, um, if we're not seen, if we're not paid adequately, then, right, the career paths that indicate success for us and visibility for us are limited. Therefore, when you have an internet that isn't built by us, right, of which we are not CEOs, which we are not in seats of power at social media companies, then we have no impact on the algorithms. And when we have no impact on the algorithms, they don't serve us. We end up in places where we don't have the followers, we don't have the engagement, we don't have the blah, blah, blah. But it really all traces back to slavery. And it sounds crazy when you say it, but hopefully you're starting to see a through line for anybody who's participated in studies of like internet research, social media research. And like Devonte mentioned, we're seeing the effects of this now. So when you ask Jade, like what we can do as Black creators or where we will succeed as Black creators, I really think it's in our innovation and it's in ownership. Y'all know a Nigerian made Calendly. I was like, what?
That.
So
Yeah.
Calendly is Black. You better switch
Right.
and get your Black calendar. But Calendly's Black. Sophia Nobles wrote a book. She was a professor of mine at USC. Algorithms of Oppression. If you want to understand why your distribution is wonk and blah blah blah, it traces back to a systemic issue whereby all of the algorithms that we're sitting on were not built to recognize or serve or surface us, and still don't. At Google, there's a lot of cool initiatives around real tone, and Black designers were able to recognize our skin color not being seen and appropriately displayed within a camera. It starts with the camera. So you're not even being seen from the moment you turn on your phone. So Pixel has solved some of those things. Siobhan Charles at TikTok realized that Black creators weren't being recognized. So she created a visionaries list that was published this year. I mean, these are just a few examples of what we as Black creators can do to promote, to uplift, to further, to advance. But I think the keys are going to be ownership, innovation, patents, right? Science, and then just recognizing that the algorithms that all of this content is being displayed on, like none of those are owned or operated by us, the major. And I love these platforms. I'll take a bag from these platforms. LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Like we just, we are not owning these. YouTube, we're not owning these at scale. So I think initiatives like Fanbase are really cool. Black owned social media company with no preferential algorithm. Like we just need more ownership and more innovation, and then to just hold on to those inventions.
I have
Thank
to
you.
put my I have to put my marketer's cap on real quick and say essentially Black creators need to be able to monetize their own followings for themselves and use some of these brand campaigns to help supplement that income that they receive. So don't rely on the pay rates from these brands, but rely on your own audience, because some have amassed on TikTok like 100,000 K, 300,000 K followers. Tap into that audience and let them know what you're doing, whether it's a merch line, whether you got a new podcast going on. Build your own, like many of these other creators are doing, so you can have that sustainability in your career.
Thank you for that, Devontae and Joy. Thank you for coming with the receipts because I love some examples. So I really appreciate that. One of the things that I noticed that majority of you talked about is really this idea of taking ownership of whatever spaces that we are in as Black creatives, which leads me to my next question, which I think is very timely. So last October, there's a London-based creative named Timmy O'Farn, and he tweeted, "I think we as Black influencers / content creators need to start taking Black History Month into our own hands going forward. Waiting on brands to approach us, most times last minute, to be involved in some lackluster campaign can't be how we celebrate being Black." So, my question for you is one, is Black History Month canceled for us? And two, what is your POV on that statement?
Yeah, Jay, I know me and you were talking about this a lot about how a lot of brands have kind of been quiet this year when it comes to Black History Month, especially just on the like collaboration partnership tip. Um, but I think it's interesting too because for us as Black creators, we're not, at least speaking for myself, we're not really thinking about Black History Month. Like waiting until December and then doing our one big campaign of the year in February. We're just doing our stuff year round. Um, so I thought that was pretty interesting, that quote of like we should take Black History Month into our own hands, because I know for the the most of us, we're taking it into our own hands, 365. Um, so yeah, I don't know if anybody wants to
I
add to
want to
that.
chime in too. It's often
Yeah.
up to the Black employees at these companies to
Mm-hmm.
generate and secure buy in for the Black History Month campaigns, which is unfair because we know that we're not represented very well within tech companies. So just know when you're like not getting that outreach or boo boo boo, it's often that there was someone Black at that company that tried and was not heard, maybe wasn't able to like offer the compensation. I'm not saying it's an excuse. These companies are, sometimes gigantic, beauty, CPG, technology. They have the budget, promise you. They just don't want to allocate it to Black History Month. That's it. It's that simple. Like they have it, they don't want to do it. Um, some people call it the Negro solstice. I wish I could take credit for that, but that moment back in 2020 when Black
Yeah.
Lives Mattered, do y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Companies were real quick to make promises, to send us email newsletters. Everybody from European Wax Center to Foot Locker was talking about, we see you.
Not
We
European.
see you in your 4C hair follicles that we're going to rip out of your skin. But a couple years later, those commitments have dropped and that budget has dropped. So, but just know that they fired a lot of their Black employees as well. Take a look at major companies I wish I could name, but again, it's probably still expecting bags in the future. I believe everyone has a chance to do better, and it starts with paying me. But no, no, no. Looking at major, looking at major companies, have y'all noticed that across the major layoffs, the departments getting laid off were DE and I. There's
Yeah.
actual reporting and stats on that. Sorry, I don't have it. D&I, culture marketing, partner marketing, comms, social. So they consider these things soft skills, even though it's the trends that power the platform. So I'm not surprised that in this year it might be a little slower because they literally just let go of everybody Black who was in those positions.
Joy, I was literally going to say that. And aside from that, I could literally listen to you talk all day. So I really do appreciate being on this panel with you. But yeah, to your point, literally just fired everyone. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who works at a tech company that leverages technology to navigate food. Oh, okay, if we're getting that there. And they literally had a meeting about what they were going to do for Black History 3 days ago. And so it's like, it's beyond an afterthought at this point. It's just not, on the balance sheet right now. And I think it's so crazy that this conversation is so timely because literally, that entire journey that we took in 2020, it seemed as though the world was changing, right? We had Nancy Pelosi in a kufi kneeling at the steps of the Capitol. It was so different. We just knew something was going to happen, and just in one kind of like swift fall, everything has kind of just crumbled beneath us in that aspect. So, I mean, to answer the question, I agree. Like, we have to kind of take that power back into our own hands. And like Dante said, continue that for the rest of the year. There's no need to wait for Black History Month. You have to continuously allow these brands to come engage you when it comes to wanting to do their own kind of marketing activation or kind of culturally relevant, utilizing you for your cultural currency, to make their brands relevant.
Listen, we celebrating all year. We got Black History Month. Juneteenth is now a celebration. I want to make sure that we are like aware that we're always doing the work, even if brands are not recognizing that. And one thing about like on the brand side, like making sure like when they do put these campaigns together, they're celebrating Black joy and Black excellence, not like, oh, Black people are resilient. Like, I don't want to hear about the strong Black woman trope or the strong Black man trope. We know we go through this every single day. We are celebrating our accomplishments and everything as we move forward, trying to provide, opportunities for us in all different spaces.
Yeah, and I would just say too, to kind of close that, I think if there's any like brand managers or marketing managers, anybody in the audience, just add black creators to your campaigns year round. Like it doesn't have to be this thing of like, it's January 25th and we haven't planned anything. We got to plan something real quick for Black History Month. Like just, we could do a black campaign in April or September or, just year round. So I think that might alleviate some of the pressure that some of these teams that may not even staff black people, that might help. Just making sure you're black or Hispanic or Asian year round instead of like the 1 month that's dedicated to that group of people.
Yeah, and I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Dante. Because
Mhm.
we also try to advocate for like it doesn't always have to necessarily be tagged to something race specific when you're dealing with black
Mhm.
characters either. Like we want to talk about Bridgerton. We want to talk about. I'm just
Exactly.
throwing shows out there like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Like we want to talk about different topics, different interests. I always try to um, relay to brands and companies that diversity too is not just about race. Like include different perspectives, different viewpoints, different approaches, different experiences. Like utilize that. We're nuanced, and it doesn't, like Dante said, it doesn't have to necessarily be just in the month of February or just when you're ready to talk about race relations in America or just when you're wanting to talk about whatever is hot button issue that comes up. Like it doesn't have to be pigeonholed to just be about race. We are expansive people, we are nuanced people, innovative people, and we can touch and speak on many different things.
And Devonte mentioned, like, yes, he's doing senior social content manager at LinkedIn, but he's also a photographer. Hello,
Mm-hmm.
black people have other skills.
We
Yep.
It's not
outside taking
we
pictures.
hello, we're contractors, we work. A lot of us have founded companies, so hire black vendors. You can throw a regular degular party. Hire a black florist, DJ,
Mm-hmm.
consultant, operations manager, production support, voiceover, whatever it is. Like you can power black through the back. Ooh, a bar.
I know that's
But it
right.
doesn't need to be just black people who dance on TikTok.
Yes.
That part.
It doesn't just have to be talent. Yep. I
It
love
doesn't have to be just talent. And one thing I'll add to here is that I feel oftentimes as Black creators or Black influencers, we're often saying this phrase, which is that Black people are not a monolith because we do have so many interests. We all have different ethnic backgrounds. We have different ways that we like to show our creative work, our art. And I think that is something that is a challenge for brands. And I'll speak from my own experience working in marketing. Like, I remember I was working at a company for a little over a year as their head of social. And I remember we partnered with a PR agency. And I get on that Zoom call, and it's like literally 20 white faces and me. Like, and that's not even an exaggeration, just like literally 20 white faces and me. And I remember we were looking to pull together like a list of influencers and creators for our campaign. And, of course, they're going for like the Addison Rays and these like, white women in yoga pants. And it's just like not even a thought to consider someone that is not white, because oftentimes they're choosing people that they follow, which are also white people. So it's also like, I encourage anyone on the call who is like in a position of power to hire creators or influencers to really think about creators that are outside of your interest or outside of the niche that you kind of focus on. So even on my own timeline, I'm always trying to follow people with disabilities because I don't have disabilities, so I wouldn't know. Or I might follow people who don't speak the same language that I do, or I might follow people who are like into like the most random things. Like it could be like I like painting ducks. Like there's a whole community for it, but I don't know anything about it because I don't paint ducks. But that's how you kind of expand your mindset, and that's what diversity and inclusion is.
Can I chime in real quick on this? I really
Absolutely.
love this because I have been really very diligent about hiring like diverse creators to work with on like the projects that I'm leading, I make sure that I like source them myself and also use like our cross-functional partners as source. But people really don't have any clue of like the Black creators that are out there. And I'm looking at the people like Keith Lee, the baddest Mitch, Lala, all of these people are like amazing creators that are not getting the opportunities that they should to have the massive amount of like reach that they have because nobody looks like us working on these projects or working in these areas, which is just like frustrates me when it comes to like when I'm like sourcing from an agency. Like I'm like, did y'all look for some Black folks? Or they're looking for like celebrities. I'm like, there's Black creators that are not celebrities, you know, and it just like you have to like even listen, find some people that are Black and be like, name 10 of your favorite creators, put so we can put a list together. I understand like they may not work on the team, but at least you can get an idea of how we view the world and how we see things, you know? Oh, that yeah, that's a bother for me.
Thank you, Devontae. So I know we have like a few minutes left before opening um, the mic to the audience, but does anyone want to add anything, especially in regards to brands partnering with Black creators?
I'll speak to the creators or aspiring creators in the audience, Joy. I think that if you have not been hired for Black History Month campaigns, there's nothing wrong with you. As you heard, there's like a set of adverse conditions right now going on, especially with the recent layoffs. This is really the time to build and to stay consistent. Consistency can sometimes win over creativity because, as you know, there are creators who are non Black and not very creative, but just consistent. They appear every day or every week or every month. You can go away and build. You can stack content and batch release it, call it a season, do what Netflix does. It doesn't really matter how you get it out there, but get it out there and do so under your own label. Create your own, found your company, create your own brands, create your own original series, your own awards. There's a blind creator in the audience who I absolutely love, Sylvia, and she created her own award to recognize creators who are disability inclusive. Like you can do that too. Nothing is stopping you. Their lack of sending you checks, lack of recognition, you not being invited on PR trips, you not being invited out to the red carpets, you not being featured on the platform, by the platform, none of that is stopping you from being consistent. So I just hope that that's empowering to a creator that's out there. Get your stuff, get shooting, get going, and they'll catch up.
That empowered me. Thank you, Joy.
Oh, that me too. Thank you, Joy.
Okay.
I just want to add quickly for brands and then also just for creators. So I'll say for brands, kind of the sentiment that's been shared about actually like hiring Black creators and creatives. Obviously, that's very important, but I think it's important to emphasize that hiring is just a start. That creating an environment and an experience where Black creators are actually valued, whether you're working with them in a full-time capacity, employer-employee capacity, or a consultant, or you're hiring a contractor, whatever. Give creators the Black creators the space. There have been so many different times, and with hashtag Black creators, we've worked with different companies, from A&E to Lifetime to the History Channel, and why those have been able to be successful in the way that they have is because they gave us the space and gave us the room to do what we know how to do, which is connect with our audience and build with our audience. And so when I say that to say, when you're working with Black creators in any capacity, to move out of the way and to trust their expertise, their knowledge, because a lot of us, are have built our expertise and our knowledge. It's been a lot of self-directing and self-coaching, and that's a huge investment. And so I think that needs to be respected and understood when you're working as a brand with a Black creator on any type of level, any type of capacity. And I'll say for the creators listening to not be afraid to do your research, not be afraid to join in community and ask questions, share what you know. One of the things that we love to do in our ecosystem is just to share, to put people on, to give people access to information. That's why conversations like this are so important. Like, lean into your community, the folks around you, people you used to work with, old bosses, whether they're white, whether they're black. Don't be afraid to constantly ask questions and do research. And if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. And also, don't take the first offer. Don't be afraid to negotiate. And if you are afraid to negotiate, get with people who know how. Or again, courses, classes, whatever it is that you need to do, like, don't be afraid to empower yourself. You have a voice, and I don't care what company it is, how big the company is, how big the budget is. You always, and even if it's a small project, because those things count too, always do your research. Always make sure that you are protected, and also save your money. Like, I don't think that could be like shared enough of, like, this industry can get crazy. These jobs can get crazy. And so any opportunity that you have to save your money, please save your money. Even if it's like $25 here and there, save it. Because again, you always want to just be in a place where you are looking out for yourself and you're protecting what you need. So
Thank you for that, Melissa. That's very sound advice. So I want to open it up to the audience. We have two people already in the speaking session. So I believe it's L. Lewis. I apologize if I mispronounce your name. If you want to hop on the mic.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Nice to see Joy and Devontae on this panel. Big kudos there. I'm L. Lewis, a futurist. I run a fashion tech startup here in Atlanta. I think we all can agree that Black creativity isn't singular. Usually, our essence, our vibranium is very multifaceted. So, my question is, in a corporate setting, how do you navigate opportunities that come from the outside? Skills that you can outsource to generate income while balancing a corporate position.
Oh, I love this topic. I created a video with like 10 to 20 tips on how to balance a full-time corporate job with your creative side hustle. So that's on YouTube. You know I'm gonna get it to you. Elle, I love you. I love everything that you do. But along or among those tips for those who aren't heading over to YouTube, coming on, like and subscribe, smash the button, would be to make sure that they know what you're doing. Like you need to keep them in a need to know, because if they don't know what you're doing and they start to see the success, they being the company, the man, the et cetera, they're going to get jealous and they're going to try to make it very difficult. The reason is the purpose of the W-2 role, right, is really to exploit talent. I don't mean that in an inherently negative way, but just that they want to squeeze as much of you out as they can. They want your full time, and sometimes they want more than 40 hours a week. So you need to define those boundaries. You need to protect your 40 hours so that you have 20 hours left, evenings and weekends, to work on that creative side hustling gig. You do need them to be on your team in a sense. They don't have to get it, but you need to play by their rules, because I've seen too many creators lose their jobs over their creative side hustle, and not in a good way. So just make sure that, again, they're on your team, you're partnering with them. If your company is in your industry as a creator, trying to leverage and work with them on any visible comms, PR, or marketing campaign opportunities, by using their product, using their services, using their platforms, like the very same one that you're working to build. Just watch out for competitive conflicts, collaborate, keep them in the know so that they don't try to stop you. I hope that didn't sound too insidious, but again, the YouTube video contains a lot of that. I left my corporate role happily after 4.5 years and received a lot of support from Instagram and Meta, and they are still hiring me now as a creator.
Wow. Thank you.
Light flex. Thank you, Joy. Elle, I hope you got your question answered. Thank you. And I'm going to pass it over to Nicole Doswell.
Hello. I wanted to come on here because I both work in PR and events and produced a all black runway show the last two swim weeks with Be Fine. Unapologetically, very happy to do it. To create a safe space for models in the backstage area as far as having your complexion and your hair taken care of. I actually, as the casting side, came across a instance where a model that I was friends with was not submitted for the project, even though I asked for to see all of the black models. And I just wanted to give kind of a bit of advice for content creators, models, to check in with your agency so that they know what you are available for, what your specialties are. Just as a lot of these companies have their own bias that are underlying. Your agents do as well sometimes. We, a lot of times, don't receive packages that include Black creatives for certain campaigns and projects. And I don't think it's because the Black creatives that are on their rosters don't fit the mold. It's just in their head, they don't fit the mold. So make sure to continue to have an open dialogue with your representative, your manager, your agent, to make sure that you are being submitted for all of the opportunities that are available and fit who you are as a person. And like I said, like we talked about earlier, that like Black people are not monolithic. So if you can make sure that you are represented.
Nicole, I think you cut out there.
Okay,
I
I
don't
was
know
just
if it,
saying make sure that you're just represented as such when being put out there. Um, just wanted to say to everyone, you are worthy, and I hope to see more.
amazing. Thank you so much, Nicole. Happy Black History Month, by the way.
All right, back at you.
So now I think we have, I believe it's pronounced Adonisette, if you want to go ahead on the mic.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Like Joy, I'm fangirling right now, so excuse me. So, this is so inspiring for me. So a little bit of my background. I'm nowhere near anybody here in terms of being out there, and I have a few questions on basically putting myself out there. This is for everybody on the panel. So I am in the healthcare niche. I established a company in 2020, and the company. The crux of it is basically addressing healthcare disparities, especially surrounding culture norms, and basically how we approach healthcare and the biases that we understand as Black people in healthcare, which often leads to us not expressing ourselves fully. But I'm not a super serious person in the corporate sense. Healthcare is very buttoned up, and my concern with the way that I want to create my content is basically being blacklisted or not taken seriously as, like, basically being put in the influencer box, because everybody does not know or is not aware of the delineation between an influencer and a creative or creator. So I have a very funny, silly way of addressing things. I'm Nigerian, so we like to infuse humor in everything we do. It's a survival skill, so forgive us for it, but don't. We don't care. But anyway, so that's my concern. My concern is basically, you know, um, my good deed being basically not perceived well, because I'm still in the industry. I'm still doing my bit, but also still kind of like in a corporate sense a bit. Also, the community, Melissa, you mentioned basically joining communities to share with other, creatives. I would love, love, love to know these communities, and also balancing. Somebody touched on balancing corporate and doing your bit. I want to be able to um, get that courage going to jump in front of a camera. I'm good in front of an audience, but shooting content and posting content, I'm a bit concerned about that, especially with the climate, where we discuss here very openly how corporate is directly and indirectly doing away with DEI, or people who basically hold their feet to the fire. So that's basically my question and my comments. I don't know how it came out, but help.
My sister, how now?
I
You're so
told you, I beg, I'm fangirling, no, I
my sister.
beg.
Happy Black History Month. You are so precious, just in the way you appear and speak. I wanted to say kudos to you. Like asking for help is literally the first step to becoming a content creator, and then continuing to ask for help because it's crazy what we're doing. Uh, I would say your concerns are valid. One great example of a creator who encourages a lot of engagement in topics around like Black health disparities is Joel Burvell. You can find him on TikTok. You've probably seen him before.
Yeah, I follow
Uh,
him.
absolutely. Like just following one Black creator as a model because he is in that quote unquote box. Like you're afraid of being pigeonholed. Joel's been pigeonholed, but it didn't stop him from meeting, oh, I don't know government, but like whoever the number one dude is in health in the United States, you know what I'm saying? And creating a TikTok with him. And Joel's been recognized, from the White House down. So don't be afraid of being called an influencer or a creator. Science doesn't lie, numbers don't lie. Perhaps pairing your comedic efforts with like actual impact slash give back. So since you're so well connected in the health industry, nothing is stopping you from, hosting events that still might be somewhat entertaining, but educational or, giving back to those people that you are advocating for. And I think if you pair that impact with your comedy or with your content, nobody will be able to deny you at all because the facts will speak. I hope that that's helpful on a base level. I'm definitely happy to share more often.
Oh, I would
Amen.
love that. Thank you.
I really love the very Nigerian moment that y'all just had. That was beautiful. Thank you for that.
That was amazing.
Was. So we have our last question for this episode, which is from Patricia Gatlin. If you want to get on the mic.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully, you can hear me. Thanks so much for having me, Joy. I'm girl fanning as well. I see you on my tech group. So, like I said, teach. So I am the curator behind hashtag Black LinkedIn. We are constantly going on the platform. So pretty sure Devontae might have something to add to this. But for me, becoming an influencer kind of happened overnight after like being featured in the New York Times, and then deciding what am I going to do with all this traffic, and then ended up creating the business page for hashtag Black LinkedIn. And I feel like every time I turn around, there's like 1,000 more followers, and there's only like 5,000 followers actually on the hashtag. Um, Never, like I said, had a plan to create a cultural community um, on the platform where we could kind of exist and amplify one another and all of that. But I think the biggest problem that I'm having, besides growing too fast, right, and outgrowing myself as like an individual, right, as a professional who works 60, 65 hours a week, and then in addition to managing the hashtag Black LinkedIn platform. So on top of that, I was like locked out of my business page for hashtag Black LinkedIn, like literally the day before Black History Month. And so now I'm thinking about growing and expanding it because clearly I can't just exist on this platform, and also being able to create a safe space. So I'm just wondering if anybody can speak to me branching out and not being in a silo, because clearly, you can get your account taken away, and I still want to continue to amplify Black and brown voices on the platform. Thank you.
Devontae, I see that your mic is off, but we're having that issue where we can't hear you again. Okay, I think he's gonna come back and refresh. So let's give him a second.
I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
See, now MacBook acting up today. Not me acting up. Uh, no, I think that's great. I would love to like learn more about this Black LinkedIn group. I think that there is an opportunity for you to branch out and like continue to build your presence. You said that, you feel like you've expanded like too fast, but take some time to like put together a strategy on like what you envision for yourself and what you envision with what you're doing, and see where it makes the most sense for you to show up. I think that's the most important, is like having like a vision board or writing something down to figure out where you want to take this. And then that can really guide you to where you really want to go. So, like nobody's like, even though it's growing, like you have the opportunity to pump the brakes and allow the community to really lead and drive what's going on. So find you, some black creators, brown creators that can help you grow this platform with you that you trust to do the work with you, and say, hey, I'm really interested in this. And they're also passionate about it. And you guys can drive that together. It is a lot. It's challenging, especially when you have like a full-time job and you're also trying to do other work. Like I'm a like sometimes creator. Like when I got my hair cut and I'm feeling good and that face is moisturized, I'm ready to be on camera. But then I'll have like a good 2 weeks where I'm like, child, I'm not even posting because
Period.
this hair ain't right, and
Uh,
that's just me. And I admire like the Gen Z creators because they'll get on here looking a mess. And I'm like, that's just not in my spirit, you know.
Yes.
So you just have to figure out, where you want to take this. So take some time to think about it.
Thank you so much. I definitely will do that. I appreciate you all. Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month, and thank you for speaking, Patricia, because I didn't even know that there was a Black LinkedIn group. So definitely will be
Same.
tapping in if I can fit myself in there. Thank you so much, and I also want to know how you got these brown skin tone emojis because I'm kind of
Oh
new.
my God, I just realized how to do it. Like
I
that was
was
like my
just about to ask
discovery
that.
while Devontae was talking. I was like, wow, you just hold it down and then boom. Like
Oh,
everything else you do in life is just a long press.
look at God!
Facts.
I love that. Happy Black History Month. That was
Happy
wonderful.
Black. Okay, women in tech,
Women in tech,
you know.
support women in STEM, y'all. Okay, thank you so much, Patricia. But this was such an incredible conversation. We do unfortunately have to wrap it up, but thank you guys so much. Anytime that I'm literally able to congregate with other Black people, my heart becomes so full. So this just made me so happy. So I want to thank everyone for joining us for today's episode of Creator Tea Talk, especially to my panelists, Dante, Joy, Devontae, Melissa, okay. You guys are literal icons. So I'm so grateful for all of you. Um, and I know there's like so much more in this space to discuss. So the good news is that the next episode of Creator Tea Talk will actually be a continuation of this discussion. So we're going to be doing part 2 of the tea on the Black creator economy, and that will go live on Thursday, February 16th. So be on the lookout for more details on that episode. And if you are posting about today's episode, please use the hashtag Creator Tea Talk so we can all follow along. And then finally, if you have any questions about today's topic or future episodes or want to discuss anything in regards to the creator economy, please feel free to DM me on any platform. I am Jade I Powell on all platforms. And again, I am your host, Jade Powell. Thank you for everyone for joining. Happy Black History Month and stay Black and stay beautiful.